Now we make a sense of what is happening. One man that has always been in the middle of elections is the Executive Director of Policy and Advocacy at Center Plaque and the convener of Election Situation Room, Mr. Clement Nwankwo, joins us from our Abuja studio. Many thanks this evening, Mr. Nwankwo, for joining us on the program. Let me begin by asking you, before we go on this short break, just briefly, are you embarrassed again looking at this kind of scenario playing out in Rivers State? This is the reasons why the election was hanging in the first place, and they prevailed on INEC to conduct or to fix a date. INEC has fixed it. Before, what we are seeing today, how does it come to you? Considering the state of elections in Nigeria.
Well, no, the word is not embarrassing. I think it's worrying, seeing what is going on in Rivers State. I think it's a major concern for Nigeria. Of course, the people of Rivers State are entitled to seek representation at the legislative level, in the State House of Assembly, and at the National Assembly. And I think it's the responsibility of INEC to ensure that these elections are held. And we're quite happy that INEC has made this decision. But of course, INEC would go ahead with the election on the dates fixed, which is December 10, once they are satisfied that the lives of their staff and officials who would be going into these elections to conduct it is safe. And I think at this time it's a major plea to the political parties on both sides of the divide.
How you feel and what the political parties must do this time around to ensure that this election hold. But as it goes now and is looking so much that there is some level of defiance from the political parties, what are your fears?
Well, certainly we have more than 3 weeks to go to the elections in Rivers, and our hope is that what has happened with this protest is isolated. Certainly we have not received reports of violence beyond what has happened today, but of course the rhetoric is very, very deep. The rhetoric is very, very sharp and harsh, and it creates worry about what looks to happen as we head towards December 10 for these elections. And I think that it's important for the political parties, for the political leaders, for the candidates themselves who are running at the different legislative levels to understand and recognize that the people of Rivers State do deserve representation at the different levels of legislative houses that are open for contest. And I think it behoves on these politicians to work towards allowing the people of Rivers State to have the representation that they do deserve. But for INEC, certainly we know that they have responsibility to conduct these elections. But if I was thinking in INEC's cap, it would be more a question: how do we protect the staff who would be running these elections? How do we ensure that violence does not spill over that would affect and injure people, or in fact cause loss of lives were the elections to go on? So I think,
Clement,
at this stage for INEC, perhaps it might be a question of watching events as they unfold.
Clement, let me quickly ask you. You and I have spoken about militarization of our elections and just how we need to police and the laws that guide our election and safety and all of that. But with what is happening now, it's off the hands of INEC when it comes to security and safety. This time around, does it look like the police can do this job all alone? Do we need, or are we going to be seeing some level of military deployment in this election in Rivers State?
Well, the Electoral Act as it exists, and this was amendments made in March 2015, gives INEC the powers to actually dictate the deployment of security presence during elections. And I think that INEC would need to continuously monitor what is going on, to be able to advise the police on areas of concern. I think that the area of alignment and alliance between the police and INEC is really important. Certainly, we do not want soldiers on the streets during election day because of the possibility that this could represent a challenge to the free will of the people to vote. But certainly, as a backup, if soldiers are available and are brought in at the point where you have a complete breakdown of law and order, this perhaps works, but I do not think it is acceptable, and I do not think that we need to begin to think of getting soldiers ready to participate in the election in Rivers, nor even the state security service.
Clement, let me quickly take you to rather interesting event that we're looking up to in Nigeria as regarding the election in Ondo State. You know some of these candidates, 28 of them, but top 4 will be slugging it out in the channel's television televised debate coming up on the 21st of November 2016. Of course, we know that PLAC and EIE are supporting in this event. But what do you make of debates in Nigeria and the need for politicians to talk about, to engage themselves in a televised debate?
Well, the debates provide opportunity for citizens to understand what issues are facing the state or indeed the political contest, and what the politicians or the candidates intend to do to improve on the existing situation. And I think it's very welcome. PLAC is very delighted to be cooperating with channels on the Ondo debate that is coming up in just under a week. But certainly I think that the opportunity for citizens to see the candidates debate themselves, address the issues, and indicate how they intend to tackle the issues that confront the state is a very important component of democracy. And I think it's important that these candidates are going to be debating and giving citizens more insights into who they are and what plans they have, what manifesto they tend to execute in order to be able to take the state beyond where it is. I think that politicians have a responsibility to focus on issues. And unfortunately, as elections draw closer, the main public issues that are being put out is more about the behavior of politicians, the violence, the threats, and so on, rather than the issues and how they would intend to deliver on development in the state. So I think that the debate would help to refocus on issues, get people to see who the candidates are and what plans they have to improve the state.
Thank you so much, Clement Nwankwo. We are working hard to make it one of the best televised debates we've seen here in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your support, EIE and PLAC. Well, as we close, I would like to bring to you what happened earlier today. Take a look at this in Brazil. This is not Nigeria, but we've seen this kind of thing happen. Where is this happening? At a hallowed chamber right there in Brazil. And these are lawmakers, elected lawmakers in Brazil, beating themselves up. But this is how it turned out. The protest ground. This is the hallowed chamber of legislative chamber in Brazil. Well, on that note, we say many thanks for joining us on the program, for being such a great company. On behalf of the team right here at Channels Television Headquarters, I'm Nwankwo. Bye for now.